Hello, this is Alison Liu from the Dolphin's Way, and today I'm going to answer some questions from EcoMind Travel. It's a travel company around the world supporting ecotourism. So today I'm going to answer some of the questions from this website and share with you my travel stories. Particularly, it's the travel story of a mother bringing her baby around the world. So the first question was, when did you start traveling and why? I started traveling in 2009. That was the year I decided that I didn't want to support a life that's not aligned with my heart, and I decided to quit my PhD in Cambridge. I decided to quit the 30 years of my life supporting just my ego and the expectations from me, my parents, my family, and the society. I decided to let go of that and just go into my heart and allow myself freedom and just go explore the world. And so as soon as I started to make that decision, I feel that the world conspired to help me realize that. So I was very fast in contact with friends in South America, and few weeks later, I got a visa, I got the flight tickets, and I flew from England to Santiago de Chile. And that was kind of my first time traveling around alone in a foreign country. I don't even speak the language, and particularly in South America, people always saying to me like, "You're crazy because it's so dangerous," and I didn't believe that. And I just feel like I want to have a soul journey and to explore the world and to experience a different kind of life that's outside of my normal reality. And if I follow the tradition or the normal kind of view, I would just get my PhD done and be super stressed and competitive and then trying to get a job and couldn't, and going into all this spiral that I knew it wasn't for me. And even I get a very good career in university as a professor. For me, it wasn't fulfilling my soul and not fulfilling like my requirement for happiness. So that's why I started traveling, and until now I am still traveling. And even I have a baby, I am still kind of not willing to give up that. And the second question is, how many countries did you visit? Which one influenced you more and you had more connection with? So far, I believe that I have traveled around 40 countries, and the one that I have most connection with is Hawaii. It's the country or the island I gave birth to my daughter and had many breakthrough of my life and transformation to who I am now today. So I definitely think I have a very special connection, and the people and the nature there in Hawaii influenced me the most. And the third question is, why did you decide to leave your career as a mathematician and teacher and to start a new life of travel? And then where did you go? So as I told you before, that I started to look into the reality of life of a mathematician, although I was really good at it and I had 3 degrees, I had all the qualification to continue a very professional career and be a teacher and getting very good salary and supporting a very normal life. And for some people it's already a dream to be able to do that, but for me it wasn't fulfilling. And probably I am very much of a free spirit. I don't believe that you need to really go into that kind of life to be able to be happy. I knew that there are other options, and particularly when I met my husband, his way of living inspired me. He traveled around the world. He went to France, Madrid to India by land, and he has been traveling also since something like 12 years. And for me, that kind of lifestyle is quite interesting because no one had ever been doing that, and that's why I feel that okay, I see there is other option in life that's not only one way. And when I start to see there's other options, I start to be able to choose, and I love the freedom of options. So like okay, there's one way. This is the way of normality, where you live inside of the box in the system. You go into a job. You get firstly you get a degree and you go into a job, and then you pay for mortgage and you pay taxes, and then your life is kind of trapped in one place unless you make a lot of effort to change that. And even to get to that point that you can have a stable job, stable place to live, and to have a stable family, that's also for some people is already a very big struggle. And so when I see like okay, that's the normal life, and there's another life that's more full of uncertainty, a lot more struggle, because you don't really know where you are going to live. You don't really know if you have money, and that kind of life for me before, it was kind of full of like scary stories, like oh, what am I going to do if I don't have money, if I don't have income? Maybe I have to go live on the street like all these people who live on the street. And of course I don't want that. And I didn't see that it's not either living in the society or living on the street. There is also other options where you can travel, you can live freely, you can also gather an income that you can support your life. And so more and more I start to see that kind of possibility, and I start to see that there's a lot of freedom in it, and there's a lot of excitement in it, because it's full of an unknown. But it's kind of one side of the coin, the two sides of the coin. One side is like it's full of unknown and uncertainty and insecurity, but at the other side you can see that it's actually full of excitement, because you don't know if you're gonna be experiencing something that's super amazing that you have never heard of. So I kind of just took a deep jump, and I just went through that, and that really surprised me, because the more I go into that kind of bravery that not really trying to live the normal life, and just going to a vibration of just I don't know what's gonna happen. I just go with the flow, and if life brings me to South America, I go. If life brings me to Europe, I go. If I have to go to Asia back to my family, then I go. And that gave me a very deep sense of ease and joy at the same time. So so far since 2009, I have traveled around the world 3 times, and I have been to South America for 1 year, where I lived in Eastern Island, Peru and Chile, and some part in Patagonia and the desert and Machu Picchu, like some trips here and there. So that was 1 year, and then after that I went to Europe and back home in Taiwan, and I went to Hawaii to give birth. And then after that I went another round. I went back to Asia and then Europe, and then I stayed many months in different kind of places and traveling and learning how to be a mother that I'm dreaming of, and then one synchronicity brought me back to South America in the jungle, and where I had to bring my baby to a very deep jungle. So that was a very beautiful journey. And then after that, I went to live in a eco village, and then I decided to bring my baby back to Hawaii. So it's been like all over the world and in many different countries. And so, how did you come to the idea of natural birth and dolphins? Did travel help you reveal your purpose of life? Oh, that's totally true. And the idea of natural birth and dolphins totally wasn't my natural planning, because I didn't learn about these kind of things, and I didn't know about these kind of things. I only knew that from the family and from the media and society. I knew there's only one option, that's going to the hospital and have a C-section, and the end of the story, you have your baby right there. And somehow when I got pregnant, I have encountered with many people around me, particularly pregnant or mothers with young children and families and friends, and I start to look into their lives, and I start to listen to their birth stories. And normally when there is a birth in the hospital, their stories are always very scary, like, oh, I went into labor, and then the doctor said the labor is already 7 hours, then we have to open you because your baby will die in your belly. And so she had to be forced to have a C-section, and then other friends are always like giving me very very bloody and very scary kind of stories about hospital birth, and it's always full of drugs and medication and machines and measuring and surgery and all these kind of horrible stories that was presented to me. And then on the other side, I have many friends, more like a natural kind of people. They start telling me like, oh, you can have very natural birth, and you can be in like beautiful environment. You can even swim with dolphins. You can even do very beautiful birth in nature, and you don't even need anything. Maybe you just need a midwife just to make sure you're okay. And when I think about my parents and my grandparents, there's a huge difference, because my grandparents had something like 10 kids, and all of a sudden when my parents' generation came, they start to go to hospital, and then they reduce the number of kids to two kids. And why before my grandparents' generation, they can have kids and they can have natural birth and everything easy, but then when my parents' generation, when we think is the modern, the high-tech era, when that era came, and when the hospital phenomenon came, everyone thinks the hospital is safer. But then why people become so scared and then just don't want to have babies anymore? It just doesn't make sense to me. And when I see these two choices, one is like a dream birth, that you can be in nature, you can have these natural hormones, love hormones, oxytocin right through you, and have your baby's beautiful moments and everything just uninterrupted. And the other way is the hospital birth, that's full of fear, and you kind of have no freedom, you kind of have no choices. When doctor says now is the time for your surgery, and then there's a lot of fear in you that they have to say like, oh, if you don't do this, your baby will die. Of course you will do it, but then it's kind of a forceful way to do it. And I knew that I don't need that kind of intervention. I knew naturally I can do it myself. And because I have this trust in myself, then I knew I can go for something higher. that's going to search for my dream birth, my ideal birth, what kind of birth I want, what kind of way I want to welcome my baby to the world with the most love and with the most care, with the most welcoming, loving support I can give to my baby. So when I have these two options coming to me, and I know for sure that I want to have the natural way. And then also because I was born in a small island of Taiwan, and where I interacted with dolphins during my childhood. So that's why I feel I needed to go back to that deep childhood connection with dolphins. So I came up with this idea of birds and dolphins, and I googled it, and I found many people actually around the world are interested in these kind of things, and actually people are doing that in South America or in Russia and in Hawaii. So at the moment I just kind of send out some emails, and then I got reply from Hawaii, and I knew I had to go. That was I was called, and I knew I had to be there, and I had to go through lots of difficult situations and challenges to remove all these obstacles of family and friends who are thinking me I'm crazy, and how I have to deal with all these fears that I didn't have any medical insurance, I didn't have money, I didn't have visa, I didn't have any kind of medical support there, and all these issues I had to go through. And at the last month of my pregnancy, I went to Hawaii, and this journey had revealed my purpose in life, that I knew this is something very sacred and very healing for me, and I just know like this is very deep inside me. When I see the dolphins, I cry. When I see the birth and I see the love between the mom and baby, I just cry. And I knew this is something that I'm meant to do, and that's my reason for being. So this journey, this travel did help me reveal the purpose in my life that I'm called to do, and I'm really supposed to be doing. And so the next question is, you are living in Hawaii these days. Could you tell us something about your life there and how different it is from your life you had in Taiwan? Yeah, it's hugely different. The life in Taiwan, as I can see from outside, is really disconnected with the heart, and very much into a money-oriented society where everything is judged by its value in money, and the value is all very money-oriented. If you are making money, you are a better person. If you are not, if you are poor, you are a worse person. And so that kind of mentality is not very welcoming for me to live in, because I know there are people out there with full of love and heart, and maybe they don't have a lot of money, but they are very nice people to be around and to learn from. And in Hawaii, they are full of people like this, very spiritual, very natural, and heart opening and welcoming and loving, and full of the spirit of aloha. So this is the first time I went to a place that people are just loving and welcoming, and hugely different from my normal reality. And it instantly melted my heart, and I knew that I want to be around people like this. And particularly in Hawaii, I could go to the beach every day and just have a life of freedom and have all this natural organic food and beautiful tropical fruits and veggies. For me, it was definitely paradise to live there. And also living in the modern society of Taiwan, there's a lot of convenience. You can have a life, you can have all the electronic devices, all the technology, all the things that people are actually thinking that's the better. But for me, I start to see that the technology, because I also studied technology when I was doing my degrees in England, and I knew that technology is really fast, and it helps many times to improve our lives. But then I also see the disadvantage of technology is that it really remove you from nature, remove you from your center of yourself, your soul, your natural being, and you are just kind of in another reality that you are not even interacting with your human relatives, and it's really sad for me to see that separation. And so for me also is a opportunity that's given to me to see that, okay, I have this life that's full of high tech and full of modern convenience and materials, and that makes you feel like, wow, that's really cool. But the other way is like, this is nature, this is something that you can feel the heart beat, and you can feel the happiness, and you can see how you are so happy that just being in nature with simplicity and just simply feel the love and the connection. So these two options also was presented to me, that okay, what kind of life you want. And for me, it was no doubt, I don't want to go back to the life in Taiwan. I want to be in a life, whether in Hawaii or in anywhere in the world, but just go back to nature and go back to that connection where you feel you are almost crying every day with tears out of joy and just passion for life and great gratitude just to be here and to be able to enjoy all what I have and all the things that's brought to me. So that's why I chose this lifestyle. And the next question, could you tell us something about your project with dolphins and natural birth? So after my birth, I started just sharing it with friends and family, and I was recommended by many friends that, oh, why don't you write it down, and why don't you just share with the world like this incredible journey you have, and maybe you can inspire people to know that there's a lot of things out there that people don't know, and you can provide some information. So I started writing down my journey about the prenatal contact with dolphins and my natural birth in Hawaii, and all my traveling stories start to fall through. And then my second book is about traveling with baby, because I feel that when many people, they have fear of becoming a parent, and their kind of obstacle to feel that they can support a family or their children is that, oh, I cannot fulfill what I really want to do in my life. Like for many people, what they really want to do in life is just travel and just enjoy beautiful new environments and people and languages, and just explore to all different cultures. And this is stopping a lot of people from being a parent, because they think that if you have a baby, then you have to settle somewhere, you have to be stable, and you have to just be there and for your baby and give up your life, just everything for your baby. And I deep in my heart, I know that this is not true, because I can see many people traveling with their baby, and they don't need to give up their life to be able to travel. And I see this also, that through my own experience, that I kind of I I I have I was pregnant, and I was brought by life this beautiful baby, and I knew that okay, I had to continue traveling. So I didn't let my baby stop me from traveling, and and the big discovery is that traveling with your baby is the best for your baby. I mean, for me personally, I see that, and maybe for other people, they don't connect to this idea. But I can see that now. My daughter is not even 3 years old. She's already speaking 3 languages, and she has been to 16 countries in the world and in 4 continents. And I see this helping her to know cultures, to know languages, to know people from different cultural background, different mentalities, and just to be able to integrate with all this different environment, and that's helping her to be a very open person, to be very heart-centered, and to know nature, to connect to nature instead of, being locked in a flight, in an apartment in the middle of the city, and just being in the concrete for 24 hours. That's not what I want for her, and this is so far from my experience the best for her. And the next question: how was the experience of traveling pregnant and with the baby? Um, oh, when I was pregnant, I had to go through 3 different big, long distance traveling. One is from South America to Europe. It was during my first trimester, and I wasn't very sure because it was the first trimester, and people are always telling me that you can have miscarriage, so you shouldn't be traveling at that time. But then I just feel like I had to follow what feels right to me, so I traveled, and it was fine, and I continued travel, and because life also brought me back to my home, and I thought I would go home to be with my mom, to get all this love and support from my family. That's the best place to give birth because I'm supported by my family. And so I flew another long distance during my second trimester, and it was okay. I think the second trimester is always the most comfortable, and I went home, and it didn't feel right to me again because all these people telling me horrible stories about birth, and there's only one option, which is a hospital birth, and I just didn't believe that would work for me. And then I had to travel again during my last trimester, and that traveling was totally like journeying to the heart, and with all this opening and loving experience with the people in Hawaii. That was really a nurturing place for me, and it was really a dream for me to have a baby in Hawaii and continue traveling with my baby. And people said to me like traveling with your baby is very difficult. um, I I personally think as long as you start traveling and you know that's good for you, and you know that it can be easy as long as you live a very simple life. When she was a newborn, I breastfeed her, and she would just go with me everywhere, and the traveling wasn't a very big problem because I just bring her everywhere. And if you say, oh, going on the airplane with the baby is really bad, I mean, she would just sleep, and when she needs food, I just nursed her, and it wasn't anything that's too complicated for me. So traveling with her almost never is an issue, apart from maybe one time I had to transfer from from Hawaii to Taiwan, and stopping over in Japan, and she had to have an emergency going to the bathroom, making poo poo everywhere, and that's the only one time that it was a bit difficult. That's life. Even in the house, it can happen. So it wasn't something that I would consider very, very difficult. So then the next question: how would you say to all the parents who say that they cannot travel because they have babies and they think that's difficult? What I would say is that if you have that kind of concern about traveling with your babies, maybe you can. And if you still feel called to travel, I mean, if you don't even feel like traveling, just forget it, just don't travel. But if you feel that it's important for you to be able to be traveling, to be able to see new things and new scenery, new cultures, then by all means do it. And if you feel that the baby is gonna bring you a lot of difficulty, then try a short journey, maybe a weekend journey to another town nearby, and to feel how it feels to you to travel. And then if you feel good, if you feel like you're happy and the baby is happy and you have a good, a wonderful journey, then next time you can try maybe another country or another neighboring country that's a short and small and easy flight or something like that, and you can slowly you can start to feel like, okay, actually the baby is not stopping me from traveling, and I can actually enjoy it, and the baby is also enjoying it, and it's a beautiful thing. So maybe I would say to these parents that you can do it, and you can, if you want, you can do it slowly, step by step, and then you can find what ways work for you and what ways don't, and then eventually you will figure out a way that's the best. Which differences you think there could be between children who had traveled since young age compared to the one who did not do that? Um, I I can only observe from my daughter, and she's still very young, so I really cannot say very concrete answer to this question. But what I see from my daughter is that since she has traveled and she has been to so many countries with people having different looks, different languages, different ways of interacting, and she's generally very happy to see all different kinds of people, and she's very open to share and have a good time with them, and particularly with the kids. And so I would say like she's quite open and she's not very shy. She likes to be around kids and people, and she loves nature. So that's kind of the feeling that I have um, if a kid is traveling since young age, is a lot more open and less scared of uncertainty, and more willing to explore new possibilities and discover life. Okay, so I am going to the final question. Your life is an example of someone who followed their dreams and trusted completely on them, and not paying attention to fears or social conditioning. But what would you tell people who have a dream but don't try because they are afraid, or want to please others with a socially accepted life? Um, wow, that's a very good, big question. For me, it wasn't easy. I don't say that you have to just ignore your fears and your doubts and your concerns. Um, I knew it is not easy to go outside of the box, to live a life that's not socially accepted, because you constantly have to face lots of judgments from your friends and your family, and then you will feel like you have to justify why you live your life this way. And what I would say is that really just trust your heart and just follow your heart and your instinct and your what makes you happy, what kind of day that brings you most joy, what kind of thing you would like to do when you open your eyes the first moment, and what will fill your heart with joy and happiness, and what kind of things is bringing you most passion and most excitement in your life. Just always connect to that and go into that kind of vibration, even if you think you cannot do, even if you think, for example, if your dream is to surf around the world and you are actually living now in the middle of the city, you think you cannot do it, and maybe you can just try to explore more of the options that what can that work for you in your life. Maybe just go into whatever like inspire you to do it, and maybe watch lots of surfing videos and be inspired that you can do it maybe somewhere close to your city, and then do it, and then maybe by doing that, little by little, you will be able to discover other ways that okay, you might be able to work near the place that you can surf, and then you can live half of your dreams already, and little by little you are more encouraged that you can actually follow your dream and at the same time make your life work. And the more you trust in your dreams, the more you can trust, because it's always constantly working for you to live happily, and this happiness is gonna bring you forward, and then going to the next stage, and then you will just kind of, that's how I was guided. I was just okay, I try this little step, baby step, and then okay, this works, okay, I try another step, and then another step, and then little by little I was going up, and then I eventually can see that actually I'm living my dream life. And it is, at the beginning, wasn't a socially accepted life. My family and my friends, and they are constantly thinking I'm a crazy woman, and I'm doing this that's really bad for my child, and I don't think it's good to ignore that, but also be in peace that some people can think their own way. They have the idea of what's the best life look like, and they are different from me, and I just have to accept that they are different. They see different things, they want different things, and that's totally okay. That's their own thing, and I have my own thing, and I just have to follow myself. And also there can be people who are jealous. They think they are trapped in their life, and then they see you living your life of your dream, and they don't like that, and they will find a way to put you down. And I also had to experience a lot of that, and even my best friend, who was judging me a lot, and for me it was a way to deal with kind of jealousy, because people always have reasons why they cannot do what you do. They cannot do their dream life. They always have reasons for that, and they will want to use their reason to convince you that you cannot do your dream life. And what you have to do is just to make it clear for yourself that it is possible, and your dream life is for you. It's probably not for everyone, but it is for you, and that's gonna bring you the most happiness. So just go for it and stay your ground and just do what you really love. And at the end of the day, you are the only person that's gonna benefit from that, not your friend. And only when you are truly inspired and you are truly happy and living your dream life, that you can inspire them to do the same. You will not succeed in convincing them to do the same thing you do. You can only inspire them by example. So that's how I have been going through, and I have to go through lots of these kind of challenges. So thank you for your time, and I love sharing all these stories and thinking with you, and I'm looking forward to interact more and sharing more, and listening to your stories too. So thank you, EcoMind Travel and audience in the Dolphins way and the Dolphin generation. Thank you. Bye.